I used to do movies for with other people and documentaries and that thing. During the let me tell you something. During the Vietnam War, okay, there was a film produced by for the U.S. Navy on doctors on board ships, and it was the Niles Studios went from Chicago on board to Vietnam, and they recorded the the wounded, the care of the wounded, the nurses on board, and the doctors. And the doctors would get something from the battlefield. I use the word something because usually they were in very bad shape. And they were out there with their little cameras and they were recording this stuff. And it was never seen by the public. I saw it. I saw it at Niles Studio. And I saw doctors break down. They couldn't save them. And it wasn't just once. Because if you're moving from land to there, you're in really bad shape. And Niles recorded Navy doctors who basically broke down. I mean, really broke down, and they recorded it. Of course, when the Navy saw that, oh, brother, they were furious. The final cut. You can't show this. You can't show that thing. One of the things about dealing with the government, nobody really understands. They own the film, the Niles said. They got every scrap of film because you buy 1,200 feet, you shoot 1,200 feet, you edit it down, they want the scraps. It's in the contract. Their contracts are that way. A lot of government contracts are that way. If you ever do anything for the government, it's under contract, and they own you completely. Uh-huh. You may own the cameras, but they own the film, they own the sound, they own the picture. And you give them everything. You give them every scrap, every sprocket that falls on the floor they want. And that's what Niles did. And anybody else who did anything for the U.S. government, they want every frame that you have, and they want every sprocket hole. Silly, isn't it? But that's how you're dealing with the government. Because the U.S. government gets screwed around by people all the time. Something like that. Well, we could look at the COVID-19. $200 billion, that's with a B, got ripped off from the government. Many of these were in state level, city levels, county levels. You know, the whole saying. Yeah, and it's continual. Yes, why? We can get you $26,000 for every employee that you have because you stayed open, plus our fee. Yeah. And there were firms who basically did this, close down, have 20 employees, and took the money. As I said, that thing. But I said again, when you deal with the U.S. government, be very cautious to read the fine print. And there's a lot of fine print in that contract. And you're signing a contract with the government. Don't make them mad. Especially filmmakers are, oh, well, we got this little film here, and we're going to do it for this cost, that thing. Make sure you give them something, or they get pissed off. And they will follow you till the day you die and after. What do you mean my son's not going to heaven? What are you doing? We're holding this thing. Your son happens to owe us money. Where's that camera? Where's that film? Right. Yes, when I work for other people, they're very cautious. You've been doing that, and you're very cautious when you're out there shooting film, because the guy that's standing next to you could be coming from the Department of Defense, the CIA, the FBI, the KGB, or somebody like that. It's like that extra feed. You having boxed lunches, he gets a boxed lunch, or he and his partner gets a boxed lunch. Oh, this is a closed set. Not for him, it's not. That's what happens when you deal with the government these days. And like any local, state government, county, local police, that can be the same thing. So don't do anything that's a thing. And remember this, they own every sprocket hole that you use. I've learned that. Well, I didn't have to do that. I realize right now, sure, I can shoot this film for X amount of dollars. Sure, because then I can rent this camera here and I can do that, and I can get deals here and processing. But it's still 9 cents a foot for processing. Right. Then you need a work print, and that costs money. Then you need a. Right. That's very expensive. And you have to remember this. When the Niles said, when he was on, or Niles, can't remember where, on a aircraft carrier, they had a special person tagging along with him. Oh, he had top security clearance, and he could get you into that operating room very easy. All you have to do is say, "I'm this." These guys, the camera guys, go in there, and they're photographing that, and they photograph as the guy who dies on the operating table. He died. What TV series showed that? Saving Hope, which is a TV series. They always show dead bodies. Well, people get injured and some live. And Saving Hope was that one of the spokesmen could sit there and talk to dead people or partially dead people. That was the little click about Saving Hope. But again, I will simply say, if you're dealing with the government, be honest with them. If you're a filmmaker, they want the sprocket holes. I'm not kidding.